Psychedelic Shacks. Welcome. This could be heaven or hell. Here we have the 4 contents pages. We go through the 4 stages of the book: the Dark Order of Error, or the Forest, Inferno, Purgatorio, Paradiso. Throughout the book we have quotes, famous quotes. Every chapter has a menu. This is the menu for chapter 1. And this is page 1 of the first chapter. Now we come to History Glorious. We've got Robert Smalls. We've got Medgar Evers. We've got Robert Johnson. We've got Jack Johnson. We've got Jim Thorpe. America's greatest artist, Jean-Michel Basquiat. Negro League weapons of majestic dominance. We highlight Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson, Oscar Charleston, his Gears of War, the ultimate 5-tool player, John Henry Pop Lloyd El Cuchata. Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. broke the color line in Vegas. The Gods of Monterey. Amy Winehouse, the sum of her parts was her genius. And we're talking Aretha, we're talking Ella, we're talking Badu, we're talking Dinah Washington, on and on. More quotes. Chapter 2, here's the menu. Stay away from K2. History Inglorious. Columbus and the Conquistadors, what they did. The 40 Acres and a Mule Connection betrayal. Lincoln, Sherman, Booth, and Johnson. Ghost Dancing. Sitting Bull and the Massacre at Wounded Knee. Testimony. Blood-spattered pages, as it should be. Massacre at Wounded Knee. America's Shame. Hitler studied American history. Bombing of Black Wall Street. End of Dreamland. That was the theater. Michael Donald. Tragic Story. Maafa, aka the African Holocaust, 1400 years, reparations are due. Another quote, Malcolm X. This is chapter 3. There's your menu. Special section, 333 books, poems, and plays that could change your mind. Everyone numbered, many of them with short little summaries. Every book is numbered, 333. Science fiction, novels, war. And now we have, I believe, another quote, another section, Deconstructing White, what it's all about. Bacon Rebellion Backdraft, the invention of white people, black and white and living color. The horror of spectacle lynching. I have the type upside down because it is a horror. 15,000 people watching this man being tortured. There's 3 pages. And this is from a newspaper article describing the horror. Non-Africans or pot-bellied Neanderthals. There's your explanation. Another quote, Haile Selassie. Who the fuck is Jim Crow on the left? We have chapter 4. Shelter stories, various stories from the men I met in the shelter. Slick, Denzel Washington's dad. Finding a Purpose, the great Harry Smith, a.k.a. Creed the King. It's his fabulous story, another one of his stories. Another one of Creed the King's stories. Another one, Harry Smith Jr., a.k.a. Creed the King. Another brilliant young man, Judea. Another story by him. It's about pedophilia. It's my story about almost being abducted and beheaded in Kashmir. This is my story about pedophiles in the dark web. Everyone should know this. Everyone should know what goes on. 800,000 children missing a year. Betrayal in your shelter. Another story by a very, very interesting man. Deja vu, a story no one wants to tell their grandchildren. Another quote. This is chapter 5. Good, the bad, and the ugly. Shelter dorm scenarios that can turn your shelter experience into a living nightmare. Threw some comedy in there. Here we have shelter stories, shelter streets. And quote, chapter 6, expose on the shelter system. Here we have photography, rap, poetry, song, and art by the men in the shelter. Malik rap, D Loco rap, G poetry, more G poetry, GP poetry, Greg, on and on. Polite Delight, terrific musician, songwriter. Here we have some artwork by the men. The Realm, the one-act play that I wrote, takes place in the shelter system. And some photography on the left. Frank King novel book excerpt, Opus Parabellum. Brilliant man, check out his work. Thank you for that book excerpt. This is his logo, Frank King, and the Opus Parabellum collection. Here we have another quote, the shelter expose. It's my photograph of 6 rolls of toilet paper covered by the USSR. It's pretty much what it's like. There's the DHS building, Lower Manhattan, back in the USSR, an appeal to Blasio. My man Ron and I put this together, his thoughts. Jamsgate, it's a mica shelter without any medical supervision whatsoever. The men are suffering. Mass murder coming, they wrote. They're so frustrated. Absolute ripoff. Here's proof. Willow Shelter, another ripoff. Willow Farm, kind of like Animal Farm. There you go, there's your farm. The social worker who came in from the cold. Her inside look at the brutality of how the men are treated. Odyssey of K, wonderful man with much to say. 40 extraordinary men, kings, best of the best, brilliant, geniuses, educated, prolific, prophetic, philosophical. Here we have, who's this over here fooling around? Shelter quotes, hysterical. And we have the credits. Final quote. And here we have this. I don't know if you can read it. There you have it, Psychedelic Shacks, available at Amazon.com. And I thank you for your time.